In Walmart's Who'Knewville, everyone ready their cart. Amazing Black Friday deals are about to start. Online and in the app, such great deals to explore. Everything you love from tech, toys, and more. The days to save and the ones to remember. It's only the 25th to the 30th of November. Set your alarms. Don't miss out. These deals are epic, without a doubt. The Who's are all ready, but are you? Walmart Black Friday deals await. Who knew?
Hi, I'm here to pick up my son Milo.
There's no Milo here.
Who picked up my son from school?
Streaming only on Peacock.
I'm gonna need the name of everyone that could have a connection.
You don't understand. It was just the 5 of us.
So this was all planned.
What are you gonna do? I will do whatever it takes to get my son back.
I honestly didn't see this coming. These nice people killing each other.
All Her Fault. A new series streaming now only on Peacock.
Meet the computer you can talk to. With Copilot on Windows, working, creating, and collaborating is as easy as talking. Got writer's block? Share your screen with Copilot Vision to help spark inspiration. And use Copilot Voice to have a conversation and brainstorm ideas. Or maybe you need some tech help. With Copilot Vision, Copilot sees what you see. Let Copilot talk you through step-by-step guidance so you can master new apps, games, and skills faster. Try now at windows.com/Copilot.
Breaking news are happening now.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Reality Flash. My name is Mike Bloom, and I'm here to bring you the flashiest breaking news in the wild world of reality TV. Today, a fan favorite Love Island couple makes a huge announcement, and as is befitting to the popular Peacock series, it is quite the bombshell. Now, of course, I would not be able to get into the finer details, for lack of a better term, around how absolutely wild the past 24 hours have been without checking in with our two tried and true correspondents on all things Love Island. And listen, we're going to put the dummies and hot dummies on islands when it comes to talking about one particular person in this podcast. But let me welcome them in. Of course, first we have the one and only Kirsten MacInnis. Kirsten, how are you?
Mike, I'm so glad to be here because I've been burning up to talk about this. So I'm just really glad that we were able to make the time.
And of course, we're joined by Brian Scally as well. How's it going, Scally?
Hello. I am glad to be here to drag. You know, you always wish it was happier circumstances, but I think some people definitely need their appropriate reaction. So I'm ready to be giving that.
Listen, happiness can be born out of catharsis as well. It's a multifaceted aspect. So we shall see how many pounds of flesh we will take out of this particular podcast. But first, look, we're going to talk a lot about accusations of clout chasing today, but you know that I personally would never be one to fish for likes with my content, but I'm always one to be fishing for subs and tips. That is subscribers and tips. So make sure you go to therealityflash.com to make sure you subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss out on a second of any random pieces of breaking news, including something like this, which, not to put words in the mouths of my two guests, came the hell out of nowhere. So again, considering reality TV news can just pop right out of the sky, make sure you are tuned in to all things The Reality Flash. And while you're there, leave a rating, leave a review. It's greatly appreciated. And of course, if you have any tips out there that you want to let me know about, no matter what reality show might be spoken about out there on the internet, no spam, no solicitations, just tips at therealityflash.com. Let's get into it, folks, as we go from a Destination X to Destination EX, perhaps.
Oh, Michael.
That's credit to Brandon Donlin on that one. But we are here to talk about one of the biggest couples coming out of last year's smash success that was Love Island USA Season 6 in the form of JaNa Craig and Kenny Rodriguez, who were seemingly going strong for the better part of a year. We can certainly get into their relationship being personified right now on the spinoff Beyond the Villa, which is currently airing on Peacock. And Love Island fans have had the crash out of the century over the past few days as a lot of shocking revelations have come to light, culminating in the breakup of these two. So obviously we are going to get into all of the fallout that has occurred on social media for the better part of a day. But let's lay a little bit of the ground first here. We won't go into the entire history as to who JaNa and Kenny are and their entire relationship history. But Kirsten Scally, I want you two to sort of set the scene here as to, what was sort of the general sense of this relationship since they left the villa over the course of the past year through beyond the villa. Kirsten, let's start with you. What was sort of the state of the union with all things JaNa and Kenny before all this broke out?
Yeah, so in general, they were together. They were dating long distance because she lives in Vegas and he lives in Texas, I believe. And it just seemed like things were going like fine. It didn't seem like they were making necessarily progress towards moving in or anything like that. But by all accounts on social media, they were happy. On the first few episodes of Beyond the Villa, it has painted a little bit of a different picture. For example, just like they did a Q&A of like, let's show how well Kenny knows JaNa, and he didn't know any of the answers, including like, what's my favorite color kind of stuff. And just like him choosing for them to live in separate apartments for the summer in LA instead of staying together, would just like kind of queued up like, is everything okay? We don't know. But the show was still showing it as like they're good, and obviously they came out of the full run of Beyond the Villa together. So I certainly didn't see an imminent breakup on the horizon.
Yeah. I would say for people that are unfamiliar, it's like JaNa was a fan favorite who was having trouble getting into a relationship. Kenny comes in. There were a couple of red flags spotted, maybe, in terms of social media with Kenny. But for the most part, I would say they came away a pretty big fan favorite couple where people were a big fan of them together. They wanted to see JaNa happy. They were part of like PPG, the most popular group of the season. So it was smooth sailing for quite some time.
Well, we hit a rough patch, shall we? So let's sort of lay the groundwork here as to the events that led to the past day, because, again, as you said, Kirsten, things seem relatively copacetic until a few days ago. Over the weekend, now correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like what Love Island fans are clocking is that over the weekend, JaNa and Kenny went to the party of one David Dobrik, which is a choice in and of itself, I will say, and really proves that nothing but bad things can happen in that man's presence, because, I don't know, are we reading between the lines too much, as we're going to get into reading between the lines way too much, that, like, if there is some sort of straw that broke the camel's back, it might have happened at that particular event, considering what happens afterwards?
I mean, that's what people are speculating about, and there was one, like, Twitter... I mean, honestly, it's a Twitter porn account that then just started tweeting like the same thing multiple times of like, there was an altercation at David Dobrik's party and that's why this is happening, which is just false. Like, we don't know of any actual like altercation, but we do know that Saturday night they were posting Snapchats on Kenny's account that they were at the party, seeming to be having a good time. And then on Sunday, they unfollowed each other on social media and took themselves out of each other's bios and deleted, like, JaNa deleted every post that.
Yeah, every post that was not sponsored. So unless there was a contractual obligation for it to stay up, it was coming down.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, then, we had a little bit, and we'll get into this down the line as well, a bit of the Avengers Assemble Endgame-esque moment, right? Where it then kind of cascaded into, that's odd, into now a bunch of other Love Island Season 6 cast members unfollowing Kenny. And so there was a lot of speculation, obviously, when you kind of look at it from the outside looking in, as to, all right, clearly there's some trouble in Paradise nearly a year after they left Paradise in Fiji. But there wasn't any sort of statement from either party one way or the other until July 29th. And so we've got a lot of screenshots to talk through here, folks. Hope you enjoy me narrating Instagram stories, because you're getting a mouthful of them today, because we've got a lot of evidence to sift through. And we'll stop periodically to sort of get both your reactions to the news. But this was really the inciting incident behind everything that went down yesterday, as JaNa finally broke her silence after a few days of speculation about everything that went down with Kenny. She said, "Hi, my loves. Thank you for all your love and support. It means the world to me. As you know, Kenny and I are no longer together. Please know that I've seen all the breakup theories, and none have matched up to how terrible, disgusting, and disappointing it truly is. Discovering that someone you loved isn't who you thought they were, and that the relationship you thought you were building hasn't been genuine since day one, has been truly devastating. Thank you for respecting my privacy, and please know, as a child of God, I will always be okay. So before we get into the response and the response to the response here, Scally, I mean, when you see JaNa both, post something formally ending the relationship, but also alluding to, hey, internet theory mongerers, you're putting it mildly, that says a lot.
I had been gearing up, like, okay, her friends are unfollowing. Okay, their boyfriends are unfollowing. Okay, even the host of Love Island is unfollowing. What's going on? Like, there's something really big here. And so to see that even the wild speculation that was happening online that felt irresponsible couldn't even touch a candle according to JaNa, to what really happened, I was like, oh, something really, really dark just happened.
Yeah, Kirsten, what were your initial thoughts when you saw this post?
Yeah, just hearing that a relationship was fake from day one is like, that's startling. That makes you really think something extremely serious and bad happened, not just like, oh, they got into a fight and broke up. Like, this is sinister.
All right. Well, Kenny eventually posts a response, and to say it was adequate would probably be an overstatement considering the way it has been received, but he did still put out one nonetheless. Kenny said, "The past few days have been incredibly difficult. I've been quietly sitting with a lot of emotions and doing my best to process everything privately. Breakups are never easy, especially in the public eye. Sometimes, despite how deeply you care for someone, you come to the hard truth that the relationship was not something that could last long term. I'll always be grateful for the time we shared and the memories we created. I release this chapter with no ill will, only a hope that JaNa's path forward brings her nothing but happiness." So, again, Kenny gives, I suppose, his side of the story. JaNa was not having anything of that, because she then screenshots his story, responding, "STFU, you manipulative liar. You not taking accountability and telling people the type of person you really are is insane to me. My first statement was me being nice. Do not piss me off." So before we get into some of the finer details of some of the responses from the rest of the Love Island cast, I know that, Kirsten, you and I had spoken briefly before we got on here about, the perceptions that maybe JaNa and Kenny were not the most, 50-50-esque partnership, even in the villa. Can you speak a little bit more about that? Because obviously it's going to bear out a lot more once some accusations come out.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and it has always been to watch them, because, from the jump, JaNa was really invested, would be bringing up meeting the parents, getting married, getting engaged, timelines for having babies, really, really fast. And Kenny would kind of brush it off, but also kind of go along with it at the same time. So it was just always kind of a weird vibe of is he as invested as she is, or is he not? And I mean, Scally and I have talked that to death over our season 6 coverage and the first few episodes of Beyond the Villa as well. But there was also a situation in the villa where they went to Casa Amor and she chose to stay loyal, and he came back with another woman. And JaNa basically said, pick, is it her or is it me? Because we're not doing this. And this sent Kenny into a crash out of crying at the thought of losing her, and basically
just
hysterical, begging to have her back, and it was a mistake to bring this other woman with me. And so that kind of gave people more of an impression that he is as all in as she was. So it's always been kind of up and down, but I don't know, it's weird.
It's always been JaNa's the type to make a joke oh, and we're gonna get married and have babies, and Kenny would look at the camera kind of thing, not okay, this is a little fast. But at the point where they continue to date and continue to date and continue to date, it's just oh, that's JaNa, that's her sense of humor. I don't think JaNa was actually we're actually going to get married tomorrow, but he was not also making those same jokes.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just
speaking into the void?
But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Purina believes no one should have to make the impossible choice between their own safety and their pets. But nearly half of domestic abuse survivors delay leaving because they can't bring their pets with them. Through the Purple Leash Project, Purina is helping create more pet-friendly domestic violence shelters so survivors and their pets can escape and heal together. Visit purina.com/purple to learn more.
Hello, I'm Diane Morgan. If you know who I am, you know who I am. If you don't, who cares? I'm here to explain Italian Time, a holiday phenomenon where Italians throw away their clocks and gather for eternity with San Pellegrino. I've been at this party so long that I've eaten 5 courses, hugged someone's grandma twice, and been offered a job in the family restaurant. So this holiday season, make sure to bring enough San Pellegrino to last you through the meal, the after meal, and the entire goodbye ritual. San Pellegrino, holiday on Italian Time.
Well, in response to JaNa's response to Kenny's response to JaNa's response, beget many responses from the Love Island Season 6 cast. The Powerpuff Girls swooped in to beat up on the fuzzy lumpkins, that is, Kenny himself. A lot of other cast members came to her side. Here's just a couple of them. This is from Leah, who ended up, again, screenshotting JaNa's response, the latter one, saying, put a sock in it, ChatGPT head ass. Tell the truth for once. Racist, clout/money hungry, and a scammer since day one. Trying to make it seem like it's something it's not. DW, our nay is blessed and highly favored. Here is a response from Olivia, who apparently ran Kenny's statement back to ChatGPT, asking, was this response written by ChatGPT or AI? Yes or no? No explanation. And then it responds yes, and she posts on that, enough said. I will say, again, we will absolutely clown on this man, deservedly so. I don't think ChatGPT is great in identifying what is AI generated or not.
I think in general, AI is not always good at recognizing AI. Do I believe Kenny would have his response written by ChatGPT? Sure. Like, I don't know, maybe.
And the thing is, whether it was AI or not, it was very boilerplate for how, like, what she was saying. It was very, like, PR.
He had this ready. Yeah. Like, based on all the other allegations that we're going to talk to now, I feel very convinced Kenny has just had this sitting in his notes app, like, for when we break up, this is what I'll post to my story. Like, it's very much giving pre-planned, not related to the specifics at all.
It is really interesting, not to go on too much of a tangent, but it feels like 10, even 5 years ago, the joke would be about, like, the quad box notes app apology, where you would write up an apology and screenshot it and post it. Are the Instagram story apologies the new notes app apologies?
Yeah. I would say so. Yeah, I feel like you're getting that. You're getting a TikTok, a little YouTube short apology. Like, you got to make the rounds. But this was, I don't know, basically like his first attempt at it. And he was very clearly just like, making it seem very mutual, which was not lining up with what she had posted.
Yeah, so what JaNa was essentially saying, right, was like, hey, there are some very deep details as to what exactly went down. You know, I would say essentially implying, like, out of respect for myself and Kenny, I'm not going to get into them more. I think him posting this response, whether it be AI generated or not, generated a lot of ire within her. And it's sort of like, let loose the dogs of war, as JaNa has not specifically posted any specifics as to what Kenny did. But there are people within her circle who may have alluded to exactly what she is referencing. Here is a response from, I believe it's one of JaNa's best friends on Instagram, that, just happened to be posted yesterday in the midst of all this, saying, my advice for women in relationships, if you have access, go through your man's phone today. Search keywords like, I don't like black women. I thought I would get more money from this. I'm faking this relationship. Going on the show would be for clout. I can't wait to be done with this so I can F hella bitches. You'll thank me later. P.S. Never spare a man. Dog them out, baby girl. So just to call it out, essentially, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong here, either one of you, what people have kind of ferreted out through, again, a lot of these inner circle revelations is that JaNa found Kenny's text group on his phone in which he was talking with some of his, his boys about his relationship with JaNa, where he said that he was basically only with her to get clout, to get followers, to get social media attention. And I couldn't really get this straight. Either he, was not necessarily pushing back against racist statements made against JaNa, or he himself was perpetuating racist statements against JaNa in the process.
Yeah, and I don't think we haven't seen any specifics, so this is of course all alleged, but what is being considered is that, the people in his group chat were using racial slurs against JaNa, and he was kind of laughing in response, as well as the statements that JaNa's best friend posted. It's alleged that it's about this, that he has never actually wanted to be in a relationship with JaNa, that he actually would never date a Black woman seriously, and that he did all of this for the clout that he would be getting from being with JaNa.
It's so crazy because then you go back to his statement and he says like, oh, it became clear that this relationship couldn't go long term. It's like, yeah, because the allegation is that you're a racist shitbag. Like, obviously, like that was always the case. And so to have it then boiled down like this is so incredibly frustrating. Did not realize that it would come to like levels of just a plain out abuse like this. To have faked like for a full year is so crazy, especially when we've already talked about Beyond the Villa. Part of Kenny's storyline is that he's so conflicted on whether this life is for him. Does he miss his old job? Does he really like the influencing? Was this ever something that he was into? And it's like, oh, you were actually scheming for a full year to manipulate and take advantage of a woman for this specific reason.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so he's manipulating his own storyline to be, oh, I'm not actually really all that into this, and I'd rather go back to my 9 to 5 because I miss deadlines. I told you that line was bullshit, Scally. I said, who misses deadlines?
He said he missed deadlines?
Literally, that's a quote from last week's episode of Beyond the Villa, where it's like, really, like the whole episode was kind of an indictment on influencing as a whole, referring to like some of the friends who are more active online as like, oh, you can't even talk to them because they just want to make a TikTok, and like they'll already be dancing before they get up to you and you tell them no. And so for him to have been literally crafting this narrative of like, oh no, but like I'm not an influencer, like I'm just kind of silly, people just follow me because of I'm silly and I listen to Katy Perry, when he was actually just manufacturing all of it because he wants to be an influencer. Like I can't diagnose someone, but this feels like psychopath shit to me.
Yeah. So then, like, again, I don't want to get into this man's mind any more than I have to, but like, what was his plan? Because my assumption would have been that like Beyond the Villa is still going, that like after the season ended, he would have then done this like big breakup announcement to kind of ride that wave. But like, I don't know, I obviously haven't checked him out on social media, but if his entire scheme is like, oh, I don't want to be an influencer, I don't know, wouldn't people clock that the second he starts doing more brand dealership and things like that?
You think?
You would think so. Yeah, it's the type of thing of where like I have always followed all of PPG and PPGM except for him. Like I've not been interested. Like, nah, I'm good actually. And so yeah, I wasn't keeping up, but I feel like I don't know if there was the recognition that like, oh, this is not going to happen in the same way, and so maybe now I'm walking it back, but just it had hit the point of they were literally, instead of this breakup post, we expected the like happy 1 year post coming up. So for it to be this long, it blows my mind because like I don't understand how this was still like quite as beneficial. I don't know. Beyond the Villa wasn't like on the radar for so long ago. That's what's so confusing.
Yeah, I kind of, my speculation, obviously I don't know, is that he probably was planning to just continue kind of breadcrumbing JaNa along as long as he could to get followers and brand deals, as long as she would be willing to accept the like kind of give and take that it seems like he, like, just based on Beyond the Villa, it seems like it's a little bit of like, I'm in and I'm out and I'm in and I'm out, and like just kind of
doing the freaking hokey pokey with this woman's heart.
And then you
literally
turn it all around. And so I think that was probably his plan, to just continue doing that until JaNa finally was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, are you marrying me or not? And then he'd be like, I'm not, and I can't believe you'd give me an ultimatum. Let me post my Instagram story about how this just couldn't work long term. And then maybe he gets out of it clean and people are like interested in his perspective. But nope, it did not work out. And I don't think that he is going to be getting the opportunity with the hella bitches he thought that he would.
No. Yeah. And we've even seen someone from his cast be like, here's the clout you wanted, you loser. Like,
yeah,
okay.
Listen, be careful what you wish for.
Here's the clout you ordered. Yep. It's when you get to the point of like JaNa's ops were unfollowing him.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because, I mean, the seeds of reality TV have germinated back with this idea of kind of like being there for the wrong reasons, right? To use a term that's been coined with The Bachelor back in the day. I mean, even a show like Survivor, right? Like, because it was such a new idea, not everybody was going on there to compete in this social strategy game. Some people were like, oh, I just want to do it to become an actor, to become a movie star. So, like, this is inherent within the DNA of reality TV. I think where things get a little confusing and get a little muddled is when true emotions and relationships get involved. That's the thing. Again, there have been innumerable times over the course of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette where drama spurs up over the course of a season of like, oh, you're just here to further your music career, GTFO. This happened for an entire year, that this guy was purposely trying to market himself as ironically, an unmarketable presence of like, oh, no, don't worry, I'm just in this really loving relationship. Yeah, I'll do a couple things. But like, no, I'm really not about that lifestyle. Only to be revealed that like, yeah, this probably was his plan all along. And you know what? On top of that, we have to just add the fact that like, that's not even by far the worst thing against him, because he was either, quitting racism or perpetuating racism himself with his friends.
Yeah. It's so crazy. It's like, it's so vile. Like, I can't believe it. And there's been obviously many people on his cast, accusing of it being him directly, whether it be his friends. We obviously haven't seen that, but it has been just like either which way, just absolutely disgusting and incredibly disappointing. And that's the thing, is I know that there's been a lot of like, are they going to do a reunion? Are they going to pick up the camera? And I'm like, I understand, but at the same time, like, I understand the call for it initially, especially when we find out that there's like the drama, but I'm also like, I don't want to put a camera back in JaNa's face right now.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, when it seemed like he ha ha, they broke up and people are picking JaNa's side, it's like, okay, yeah, get the camera right now, get Andy Cohen on the phone, we need a reunion. But then you find out the actual like depths of like the worst of humanity that actually has allegedly played out here, and it's like, leave JaNa alone, let her live her life. And I just pulled up his TikTok and he still has so many videos with her in them because he still wants her clout.
What I am intrigued about is, to your point, Scally, I'm not sure if there is going to be a reunion at this point. Do you think this might affect the rest of Beyond the Villa? I don't know how many episodes are left, but listen, we have seen a show like The Challenge in the past have a, skirmish pop up, a scandal involving a cast member, and they sort of like re-edit the rest of the season to edit them out. I don't know. Do you think there's a chance they might do this with Kenny, or do you think Peacock's just going to kind of like ride that wave for however many weeks the season's going to run and just like hope it quote unquote blows over?
It's hard to say, because Ariana, I feel like, has made it pretty clear that wherever she's been able to be involved, she makes her opinion well known on things like this. So I'm sure she's talked to Peacock, allegedly, maybe, who knows. But like, I'm sure there are people who are having that conversation. I feel like Beyond the Villa is at times maybe in search of content like on a week-to-week basis. So I think it might be a little bit difficult for them to go through and hack at the episodes even more. But I think at the same time, I already said to Kirsten, like this week watching Beyond the Villa and seeing like, oh, JaNa and Kenny are talking about fostering a dog together is going to be just like so weird and dark. So I don't know how they're going to handle this.
Yeah, I think there's only 3 episodes left, so they definitely could go in and make some changes to how they're editing it. I don't know, maybe they have more clips that make Kenny look bad and they'll include more of those. I'm not sure. One of the big conflicts of the season that's been shown in the previews over and over has been Kenny and JaNa having a fight at dinner about the separate apartments, and him saying, I wanted the separate apartments because I needed space from you, and then JaNa gets up from the table and leaves. So we do have like a big fight for them coming in, and I mean, they didn't break up during Beyond the Villa, so I think seeing them reconcile from a fight is going to be really hard to watch. And so I don't know. I hope they can get in more scenes of JaNa with the girls because she really is a star and can maybe cut Kenny's presence down a little bit.
It's such a weird phenomenon. I know that, Kirsten, last time you were on this podcast, we talked about the cast of Perfect Match, which had its own kind of time capsule moment, where like there are going to be 2 contestants on who not only got together, but one of them got pregnant following their time on Perfect Match. This is almost exactly the opposite, where it's like, okay, we are crystallizing this moment where I would not say things were okay, but things were, I guess, in enough of a stable place where like this was happening. This was, I guess, the calm before the storm, and it's going to age like freaking milk, which is wild to say for a show that's only, like 4 weeks old.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 6-episode run, and we're 3 episodes in right now. So I don't think that anybody involved in the show or a fan of the show or the network had any idea that this would happen and that something so dramatic would come and possibly shake it up. So I mean, we just have to wait and see.
Yeah. The thing is, Love Island has acted when there are like demonstrated examples of a contestant on the show like using racist terms, etc.
Yes, as we figured out a couple times over last season.
Yes. So in the last season, they will remove someone very quietly, and it's just they had to go home. Goodbye, and that's it. Now, you would think by that same principle, at the same time, it does not seem like those texts have leaked. So I don't know how they're going to handle it directly. It, given the history of how they've handled it in the past, it makes me question a little more if they will do some hacking at the episodes, but I think we got to wait and see.
Do you think this is one of the biggest scandals to hit Love Island USA? I mean, as we both talked about, JaNa was part of, this incredibly popular group, even though they end up finishing in 3rd. They end this season as like a relatively stable couple. There are a lot of people outside the show that are rooting for JaNa. And so I think a lot of fans have been shocked and appalled and deeply devastated by all this, especially considering that it really did seem to come out of nowhere. You two are much bigger the experts than I am, but even tangentially following this stuff, I'd be remiss not to think of a bigger moment post-season that has hit the Love Island USA fandom specifically other than this.
Nothing to this level of extreme by any means. Like, we've had situations where, the man in the relationship was a bit of a scammer, but nothing to the extent of a full year and like the racist comments that are alleged in this case. So I can't imagine any that were even near this bad.
That's the thing, is like we have had even like a winning couple before come out with like, oh, he had a girlfriend back at home and on again, off again. And like maybe, but that was a couple of months at the most. There was no alleged racism to that my memory. There was another winner who maybe just also had some problematic text released today. So that one's also going around. But I don't just think Love Island USA. I'm struggling to think of crazier things, like more awful things to happen in like a top 20 of reality TV for me right now. Like this is so
to me
bad.
This is up there with Scandival.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
I mean, when you were talking about like would Beyond the Villa cover this, I was thinking about Scandival and that Vanderpump dedicated an entire season to the fallout from that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that this is obviously with the addition of racism into the like year-long manipulation, like so much worse, but in terms of the public reaction, it feels similar in terms of like it's everything everyone's talking about. Kenny was literally the #1 trending topic on Twitter yesterday, I think. So it's like it's everywhere. A tweet about Love Island, go tweet about it. You'll get 60,000 likes right now.
It's even Pluto TV posted just the TikTok of everyone last season on Big Brother voting out Kenny, being like, we vote to evict Kenny, and JaNa reposted that video.
Holy Moses. This is like the Voltron of summer TV programming from a reality perspective, like coming together. When you have like a Big Brother specific clip about Love Island, you know that you have permeated the barrier here. So I mean, I think I speak on behalf of all three of us when I say, you know, our hearts go out to JaNa right now. I hope she's being well supported, especially if these allegations are true. I think after we've seen the very understandable dogpiling the past few days, we can say, oh my God, they killed Kenny. But you, bastard Kenny, are the one that should get the finger pointed at you. We'll see if we find out any more details about this, if JaNa decides to get into any more specifics on her own, or if we'll get any more responses from everyone else in, you know, the Love Island community. But to finish things off, you know, any final statements from each of you and any plugs that you'd like to give out? Kirsten, we'll start with you.
Well, just obviously Team JaNa for life. We were there before we knew the circumstances, and now we're even more there after we know. And you can catch Scally and I talking about the rest of Beyond the Villa at WeKnowLoveIsland.com. And the new season of Perfect Match that you mentioned before is coming out on August 1st. And myself, Asia, and Jason will be covering that on the Hot Dummies on Islands and Perfect Match feeds. You can follow me everywhere at Kirsten Said What.
Scally, what about you?
Yeah, like Kirsten said, we'll be talking about this, and I'm sure whatever other mess comes of it on Beyond the Villa on We Know Love Island. Myself and Matt Liguori are talking about the challenge, both current and old, on the Free Agents podcast. And then anywhere else, I'm on social media. You'll find me. Just search Brian Scally.
I'll finish with a brief story here. I had the chance to talk very quickly with a good amount of members of the cast of Beyond the Villa for Parade. And one of the things I asked them was, you know, in lieu of Rob Roush being on The Traitors, what's a show that you would want to see yourself on next? And Kenny said that he'd love to go on The Challenge. And I think for many reasons, that feels incredibly appropriate.
Yeah. Feels more likely now, unfortunately.
I think so. Yeah, honestly, he may have bettered his chances with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
God, I hate The Challenge sometimes.
Well, of course, you can follow everything I'm doing at a Mike Bloom type. And again, I'll wrap around to how we started this whole shindig. Let us know any news tips you might have out there in the world of reality TV. If any more shocking revelations come to light, either with this matter or anything else. No spam, no solicitations, just tips at therealityflash.com. And speaking of therealityflash.com, go there, subscribe, buy in to the news hype. Make sure you're tuned in to get the deets on everything that is happening, including random things like this that, as Scally pointed out, has really taken the internet by storm. It really does sometimes feel like, you know, you wander out of your proverbial internet doorstep and you just see a bunch of like random stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense to you. So I hope that we were able to provide a bit of context as to the who, what, when, where, and unfortunately why all of this went down, and we'll continue to do so here on the Reality Flash. That's going to do it for this episode of the Reality Flash. I'll be in your eyes and ears soon with more reality TV news as it breaks. Thank you all so much for listening. Kirsten, Scally, thank you both so much for offering your always valuable insights. Until next time, everybody, you've just been flashed.